Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Serenity Cards and Coaching. My name is Leela Meinke. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and Gallup Certified Strengths Coach, and I'm super excited to bring these cards to you today. These cards are Halloween colors without the Halloween, and we're featuring the perfectly penciled designer series paper, and we're featuring a stamp set that I love. So you're going to want to get your wish list out and your pen, and you're going to want to take notes because there's some really fun products today. This stamp set is called Stepping Stones, and the intention is really that the sentiment is the star of the show. I've shown cards before with all different colors with this perfectly penciled paper, and I love it, and it's exquisite to have the paper be the star of the show. But in this case today, we're going to let the paper kind of go in the back, and we're going to let the sentiments be the star. And so I'll feature different ones as we go through it. And let's go ahead and get started. Here's our 4 cards, and I always like to go from simplest to a little more involved. So we're going to start with this one right here, and I'll put this to the side, and I'll pull these to the side. And I'll show you some alternatives as well. So this first one is, this is a single layer card. It can very easily go through the mail with no extra postage. There's no bling, no ribbon. What? No bling, no ribbon. True story. But like I said, the sentiment is the star of the show. Great works are performed not by strength, but by perseverance. And so this is really just a note of encouragement to anyone who's having a rough time, and just encouraging them to just kind of hang in there. And it can very easily be popped into the mail. So let's just start simply. So we've got basic black as our card base, and that's going to be just your standard card base. And then we've got a fresh freesia layer that's pulled in 1/4 of an inch. We've got perfectly penciled, that's pulled in another 1/4 of an inch. And then we're simply just going to use our Memento black, and we're going to stamp the sentiment onto our basic white. And then we're going to adhere all the layers together. No bling, no ribbons. I can't even believe it. So I don't know if you guys know it, but I've got a Cards for Causes group where we send cards to people who might need a card. So if you know anybody who needs a card, I'll pop the URL down below. It's leelameinke.com, cards-for-causes. Anyway, I'll get that URL to you. But you can send a card to someone who might need a card. Or if you want to be on the volunteer list, you can get on the volunteer list. So we've got about, I don't know, there might be about 20 of us on the email list right now as volunteers. And not everybody sends every time. So maybe 5 or 6 of us consistently send every single time. But if you know someone who needs a card, we'll get you that URL. And you want to get their permission, because of course we'll be sending it to their home address. Or whatever address you give us. So you're going to want to get their permission, but it's just really a beautiful way to brighten someone's day. And if you want to volunteer to be on that list, we'd love to have you. It's a really great way to use up the cards that we might be collecting, or it's just a great way to reach out to someone with a kindness. So you guys, in just that 2 minutes that it took me to describe Cards for Causes, I put together our very first card. And it's got quite a bit of impact. It just, who wouldn't want to receive just a nice little note, letting them know you're thinking of them, and letting them know just to hang in there, right? So great works are performed not by strength, but by perseverance. So that's our first card. That's it. Super simple, Simon. I really wanted to feature black and white this month because I love black and white. And there's so many things you can do with it. You can dress it up, you can dress it down. And October is a good month because it's Halloween, and lots of people are doing things with black and white. Actually, where I got inspiration for these colors was this month's Paper Pumpkin. We have a kit subscription in the mail every month, and these were the colors in the Paper Pumpkin, and I just loved them. So this next card, we're going to do a technique. We're going to use our dauber. And you guys, I just got brand new daubers. If you don't have them, or if you need to refresh them because they do wear out after a while, It's just a simple pack of 5. You might want to get some sponge daubers on your wish list. But we're going to go ahead and spotlight the butterflies. So in this pretty pattern in the penciled paper, there's some butterflies. So we're going to go ahead and spotlight those guys. If you get this kit, so you can either buy the class or you can earn it free with a minimum purchase, I will give you a template where you can spotlight. You'll get a circle punch out where you can spotlight. So what we're going to do today is we're going to use fresh freesia. And I'm going to get my dauber inked up a little bit, but I don't want that firm, like really, really dark impression. So I'm going to kind of daub off to the side, if you will. I'm going to start off the paper, and then I'm very slowly going to kind of circle onto the paper. And I'm going to get just a little bit of light coloring. I'm holding really, really firm. I don't want my circle to slip. I think I want to go a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and dauber just a little bit more. And now I've got my butterfly spotlighted. So let's pull it up and take a look at it. So look at that. Your eye is going to go right straight away to that butterfly. Now, every single different pattern of this paper has the butterflies in a different place. So let me show you the card that we're working on right now. So this particular card, the piece of paper that I used had butterflies 3 different places. And so I did my circle 3 different places. And I like 3s, so I didn't do the 4th one right there. This one only has a butterfly right there. And then there's another one that's got butterflies in a little bit different place. So how do we handle that? Well, I'm just going to spotlight the butterfly in the one place. And I'll go ahead and get this adhered to my basic white layer. So again, working in 1/4 inch layers, I've got my card base, I've got my basic white coming in 1/4 inch, and then I've got my designer series paper coming in 1/4 inch. So I'm getting all this good and adhered, and then I'm going to play with where I want the sentiment to be. So we have options. So I've already done the sentiment. I'll show you on the next card how I heat emboss it. One thing I want to say is these sentiments look fantastic, and black and white looks fantastic when you heat emboss white on basic black. So I've already done that here. Dreams, no small dreams. So I thought that was perfect for a butterfly, was perfect with the dream, no small dreams. So I'm going to just kind of, and I didn't actually decide where I was going to put this. So I'm going to do some designing real time. And let me think about where I want that. So I think I'm going to place it right there. I'm going to go ahead and put some Stampin' Dimensionals on it. You're also going to get some gems, iridescent gems, if you buy the class. So again, you get the class for 20 bucks, and it's 8 cards, 2 of each design, or you can earn it free with minimum purchase. So I'll share a little bit more about that. But anyway, we'll go ahead and put that there. And then I love to put gems on my butterfly. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little gem right on his head. And there we've got it. So this has a little bit of dimension because I put it on dimensionals and because I have a gem, but just very simply, dream no small dreams. And so I like odd numbers. So we could have 1 circle, we could have 3 circles. You know, there was another butterfly there. I could have done 2. I could have done flowers instead. So you really have choices what you want to do. I'm going to show you some other techniques as well. Maybe when you get this paper, you love it so much you decide you want to color it. So I'm going to show you some coloring techniques, but very simply, you could just do a very simple card like that and dream no small dreams. So there's that guy. And then I thought I would show you this one. Now, of course, I've already used up the sentiment, but on this guy I was playing with it, and the 2 butterflies are up there. So I highlight, so I've done the 2 circles up there, and then I could put the sentiment down here. And I think that would, I like odd numbers, but I think if I do 2 there, maybe if I put a couple gems to kind of round it out, I could do that. So you can play with it and mix and match as you will. I'll have some pictures because, of course, every different piece of paper, you're not going to get exactly this one or exactly that one. You can play with it. So anyway, there's our second card, Dream No Small Dreams. So that's card number 2. You could put a little strip behind it or not. I will include a little strip for you. You could put a little strip or not. So, so you've got options with that guy. All righty. Now I'm going to move on to card number 3. This card, and I forgot to write down who I was inspired by this sketch, but I was looking, I told you I loved the paper pumpkin sketches. I just loved them. I mean, I love the paper pumpkin colors. And so for the month of October, fresh freesia, pumpkin pie, basic white, basic black. So I was looking out on the boards to see some alternative sketches for the paper pumpkin. And I copied someone else's kind of sketch or layout, but I made it work with the penciled paper. So here we go. And this one is, an obstacle is often a stepping stone. And they're just, I don't know, they're just sentiments that we can give to people to cheer up. And really that is true many, many times. Like we think it's an obstacle and then it turns out to be an amazing blessing because all of a sudden we got some courage to make a new decision, or we got pointed in a new direction, or we got a new connection, and we wouldn't have gotten it without the obstacle. So many, many times it's a stepping stone to new exciting things. So it doesn't feel like it in the moment. So we've got our basic white thick cardstock, and I love this sketch. Like I really want to play with it with different colors, even different papers. This cardstock right here is 3.5 by 3.5 basic black. And then the strips, and I wrote them down, the strips are 3.5 long. Of course, we're not going to put them right on them exactly. We're going to kind of stagger them a little bit, right? So the strips are 3.5 inch long and they're 1.25 inch wide. And then the circles are, I've got a 2-inch circle in the basic black, and I've got a 1.75 inch circle in the penciled designer series paper, and then just the tiniest, sweetest little fresh freesia bow. So let's go ahead and get the cardstock adhered, and then I'll show you how I decorated up the, I'm going to put this guy like not exactly in the middle, maybe a little closer to the top, but definitely with some room there. So I'm going to put that guy there. I'm going to put this guy here. Anyway, I'm excited to share with you a little bit how I got this colored up. And I was going to play with this in red and green also. I thought it might be really, really pretty in red and green for just a very simple Christmas card or holiday card, of course, with a different sentiment. But I think that I can't wait to play with this sketch. Even with designer series paper that maybe we don't color, but we color the image in here. We could even put different punch outs in there. I just really think this sketch has a lot of potential. So I'm going to put that guy right there. And now I'm going to show you how I colored up this designer series paper. So this is the back of the pattern that I'm featuring on the front. And by the way, in my kits, I will take the time to get you a punch out of just a nice either duo or trio of flowers. Like I really take a lot of care with my kits. So when I send things out, I really look at the different elements and just make sure they're of good quality. So what I'm doing here is I've got my blending brushes, and if you don't have blending brushes, get those guys on the list. These are going to give a little different coverage than a dauber would, and so we want blending brushes in this case. I've got my fresh freesia ink pad, and again, I'm going to kind of brush against the ink pad. I'm going to brush off over here, and not really with any intention. I'm just kind of covering a few of the spots over here. When I go to put the pumpkin pie on, I really don't want the edges to necessarily cover. It's okay if they lightly do, but I really don't want them. It'd give kind of a muddy look if we spend too much time letting them cover. So I have fresh freesia in some pockets. Now I'm going to come in with pumpkin pie and just kind of round out the rest. And the pumpkin pie, you can see that's really, really good and inked. I don't want to come on there so strong. I really do want to, you know, kind of wipe that off. I'm just going to come in and fill in the rest of the spots right there. And I'm giving myself just a hint of the pumpkin pie and freesia, and that feels pretty good to me. So I might want a little more freesia, actually. I'm going to come back in, darken my freesia a little bit in the places where I have it. So I'm just going to come back in and maybe not wipe off so much. And there we have it. All right, that feels better. All right, so that's that guy. And now I'm going to adhere him right here. And there's not, I'm basically leaving like a little bit of an edge here and there. But there's not like exact placement of this. I kind of like the purple at the top, I think. So I'm going to put the freesia at the top and keep the pumpkin pie a little bit below. So I'm going to put that right there, and I'm going to set it off to the side. I'm going to go ahead and color my flower, and you could use colored pencils. You could use blends. Today I'm using blends. I've got fresh freesia, I've got granny apple green, I've got pumpkin pie, and I'm gonna follow along with the shading so you can see what I love about the penciled paper is it already has some shading built in. So I'm going to color light areas on top. I'm going to do darker areas down below with the freesia, and I'll just show you how I'm going to do that. I'm going to use the tip end. So I'm just going to do, which one? Yeah, I've got the light right now. So I'm doing the light, and I'm going to leave like some little white spots kind of peeking through just as if it's being highlighted. So I definitely want to make sure I don't go outside the lines. And so to do that, sometimes I go right up to the edge, and I might leave a little bit of white right there. I can come back in with more precision if I want with the other end. And I'm going to go ahead and put my fresh freesia down here, and I'm putting it where the shading is. And then I come in one final time with the light, and I pull the dark out so that I really have like a nice blended effect. So that's what I'm going to do with the fresh freesia. I'll get the granny apple green colored, and really I don't think I spent too much time shading the granny apple green. I think I used well, maybe I did. I do like shading. All right, so I won't color the whole thing, but I'll show you like that's how I did that. So a little bit of highlight at the tips, lighter at the end, darker at the base, but my granny apple green. So I did a mix of fresh freesia and pumpkin pie, and then I came in with my Wink of Stella. You could do this now, or you could do it after it's added to the card. But I came in with my Wink of Stella, and I just put it on the one flower where I was going to put the bow, actually. So I'm just going to do that right there. I'm not going to show you how to color the rest of it, but go ahead and glue. Then I've got it on dimensionals. So I'll go ahead and dimensional that right there. Put my sweet little bow, and then you cut off the ends. So that's how that's going to work. But I will stamp the sentiment. The sentiment's stamped pretty nicely. This is, like I said, it's the Stepping Stones. I'm using Memento Black very simply, and an obstacle is often a stepping stone. So we'll just go ahead and get it good and inked up with our Memento Black. Make sure you're facing the right way. This actually stamps pretty straight, so I'm going to look right here. I guess, you know what, that would have been good to do before I did my gluing, wouldn't it have? But it's going to fit, and there we go. So, so there's our sweet sentiment, and there's our sweet card. And then I popped on 3 little gems, the iridescent gems, just right there. Again, I love this sketch, and I can't wait to play with it with some other designs and some other colors. What do you guys think? I see thumbs up. I see people respectfully being on mute, but I see lots of thumbs up. Awesome. All righty. We are going to move to our last card. And our last card, I also did it in the same fresh freesia, pumpkin pie, white, basic black, and this sentiment. This is honestly why I got this stamp set. Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. Helen Keller. And I picked all these little flowers because it just reminded me of a bunch of like, we're all like little people and we're all together. So we're not individuals. We are individuals and we're together and there's a unity. So I don't know. I heard a sentiment. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so that it's just kind of the same sentiment of, we don't have to do this alone and we're not in it alone. And wouldn't it be so sweet to send this to someone? I'm actually going to send it to someone who just lost her mom. And I said, you're not alone. You are not alone. And she said, you're the first person who told me that. And so, I'm just going to send this little note to her because we're together. So, and then the other thing I want to show you, so these are Halloween colors, traditional Halloween colors, and I love them. But I also was like, oh my gosh, where's the pinks? Where's the yellows? Where's the everything? So when you get this paper, if you want to play with it and you want to pull in your bright colors, you absolutely can, right? You can use suggested colors or you can make it your own. And so I'm going to give you some coloring tips, like strategy tips of like, how did I decide what color to put where? So I'll do that simply in a little bit of coloring and show you that. And I'll show you a tip of how you adhere this guy, because this guy's got a special way to go about adhering it to get this kind of floofy stuff. And the kit comes with fresh freesia ribbon, but I just pulled in some of the turquoise because I really, really love it. So let's go ahead and get started. We've got our pumpkin pie base. We've got our basic black, 1/4 inch in. We've got our pencil, 1/4 inch in. And then this guy is 2 3/4 by 2 1/4, and the ribbon you need is about 1 foot. So I want to show you, and I just learned this. You guys know I'm doing my 12 weeks to a wow Christmas with Bethany and Leela, and oh my goodness, I am having so much fun with Bethany. We have a very similar style and yet very distinctive style, and so I'm really having fun, and I'm watching her videos and she's watching my videos. Maybe sometime, probably our next series, hopefully if we do another series, you'll see both of us together. But I learned this watching her, so I'm going to tell you what I learned. She colors in trios, or she stamps in trios. We all do things in triangles. Well, when she's trying to decide to get some random placement, she does it randomly, but she does it randomly in a triangle. So I'm coloring this with light fresh freesia right here. And then if I'm doing a triangle, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to color this and do light fresh freesia down here. And then I'm going to do one more in the trio and I'm going to come up in the corner, let's say right here. So I'm going to do another light fresh freesia right there. And for now, I'm going to call that good. And then I'm going to go to, and so let me show you that. Let me turn it over. That side's a little messy. But you can see I've got a triangle going on. Now I'm going to do the light pumpkin pie. So same thing. I'm going to do a triangle here. I went outside the lines. Let me show you how, and I know you probably can't see that, but I can see it. So I'm going to show you how I clean that up. So I color that in, and then doing my triangle, I'm going to come over here. And then I'm going to come back down here and color this guy. So you get the idea. I just made my way through with light pumpkin pie, dark pumpkin pie, light fresh freesia, dark fresh freesia. And that's what I did. Then I colored in the leaves with light granny apple green. So I'm not going to finish that out, but you guys get the idea. And I'm really doing a super quick job on that, but I don't want it to be so quick that I'm outside the line. So the color lifter, in fact, is a color lifter. So let's see if I can see. I mean, it's so tiny you can't even see it. It's right out of the line right there. But basically, you take this marker and you put it over the area. I'm not coloring inside the lines. I'm coloring outside the lines, and you put the lifter you just kind of saturate it with the lifter. I've got the thicker end, and let it dry, and then that color will have disappeared. So so I went ahead and colored all of my here's a good one of the triangles. So you can see, like, there's the turquoise triangles and there's the polished pink triangles. So I went ahead and colored them all. And then you can see on the two different cards that I have, I didn't place the sentiment in exactly the same place. If you want to, you can. Down here is a perfect place to put it, regardless of where your triangles are. It's perfect to put it just right there. I kind of wanted to tease out maybe the turquoise a little bit, so I kind of did it around where the turquoise was, but really you can't go wrong just putting it in the lower corner. And so actually, let me take a minute and show you how to emboss. I know you guys are, some of you guys are just experts at it, and some of you guys are still learning. So I've kind of committed that I'm gonna just kind of keep making it something that I go over so that you guys really can see it in action a few times and get good practice with it. Now, I have great news. Remember my embossing buddy that got all yucky? I'm black. I don't care. I can use him on black because I'm not worried. But anyway, I'm taking my embossing buddy and I'm going over my cardstock. And then, you guys, I tried it with basic, thick white. I do have a thick white. Oops, where'd it go? I have a thick white, I have a Whisper white Stampin' Pad, but it looks crisper and better if I do Versamark ink and white embossing powder. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I've got my sentiment, and this is, oh my goodness, it's the Helen color one. I love it. So I've got my sentiment, and I didn't do it yet for this guy, but for one of them, I trimmed around the edges because it really was having a lot of carryover. So you might want to take a pair of scissors that are not your ribbon scissors. If you've got some old rubber rubber stamping cutting ones, or just not your good ribbon ones, but cut all the way around. Don't undercut, and don't cut any of the letters off, but you might want to get a nice trim edge. This one does pretty well. But I'm going to go ahead and get him inked up with Versamark. And he stamps pretty much in the center. I'm not in the best position to do this, but he stamps pretty much in the center. And because I'm using the cling rubber and not the photopolymer, I don't need the mat underneath. So I'm not going to do that. And pretty much immediately, I'm going to get it over to my embossing tray. And I'm just going to go ahead. So now I use this tray interchangeably. It just had some gold in it. Before that, it had clear in it. I use it interchangeably. And then I clean it out. Each time I just kind of empty it out and put it back, pour everything back into the bottle. And then I might wipe it out with a little paper towel. But anyway, I've stamped it. And now I'm going to come in. I've got my brush and I've got my little holder. So I'm just going to make sure I don't have any extra white flakes. For sure, white flakes are going to show on here. What I love about these stamps, they're good and nice and thick. And so they just really, really emboss nicely. So I'm going to hold this with my tweezers. Just love this. Like, it never gets too hot. So I'm just going to hold that right there. It's going to be noisy for a second, but here's what I want to show you. I'm going to heat emboss it. I'm going to look under the light and make sure that it's glossy all the way across. I don't want it to be too much. I might even do a corner that's too much just so you can see that when we're all done. But I'm going to heat it to just the right amount, not too little, not too much. I'm going to check it against the light. I might come in with my fingers and just kind of rub against it. And if any powder comes off, then it's a learning for me. I know I haven't done it enough and I probably need to do it again. So it's a learning. You don't want to do it too little. You don't want to do it too much. So we're going to do it, and then I'm going to come back in and overdo it. So it's going to be noisy for a sec. You know, when I first fell in love, well, you know what? I'm going to show you. So this N, I'm looking and I can see that the N, let's see, you guys can't see let's see, can I make it shine? You guys can't see it. You want to look everywhere for a good shine. I can see that my N may not be done enough, so let me come in and do it. Yeah, you know what? A little bit of the powder is coming off. If you do that and some of the powder comes off, well then you know, gosh, I should have done it for longer, and I'm really looking for a very solid, smooth, shiny surface. Now I'm going to try to do it too much. I haven't done this in a while, so we'll see what happens, but I'm going to try to do it too much so you can see what too much is. Well, I can't really get it, so that's cool. But I've seen it burn. Oh, look down here. You can see it here. It's getting too gooky and too like melty and too, so it'll melt too much or it'll burn. It'll start to turn brown. It'll start to bubble. So don't be scared of it. It's just paper. Play with it till you know you've got it right. And when you've got it right, like it's going to be very crisp, very clean. You could wipe your fingers across it, nothing's going to come off, and it's going to be shiny everywhere. So now I want to show you the final thing, which is kind of how to do the loop-de-loop on the back. These are always a challenge, doing these, like how do I get like this little loop over here and this loop over here? Well, maybe not for you, but they have been a challenge for me. And I remember back when we were doing paper pumpkins in person, we were like, oh my gosh, how are we doing these? So I kind of figured out some tricks. So let me show you. I'm going to go ahead and put like 6 dimensionals on here, and I've got them, and it may not need 6 dimensionals, but let me show you why I'm doing that. So I'm going to put, I mean, it doesn't need 6 dimensionals to hold the paper, but it does need it to hold the loop-de-loops. So now I'm taking off all the papers. And then you've got about 12 inches of ribbon, and I like it so it's like not perfect, right? You can see like this is kind of up and this is kind of down, so it might be like a crazy 8 like that. So that's kind of the look I'm going to go for. So I'm going to start it, so I've got it cut. I'm going to start in the middle here. I might go over that for just a little bit of, you know, extra adhesion. I'm going to kind of do my loop like that. I want to make sure it's not too long. You know, we're so tempted, we go like that. No, we really just need a tiny little piece like that. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to loop it down here, and I'm adhering it down here. Now you might be worried like, oh my gosh, how are the dimensionals going to stick? Well, that's my next little trick. So now I'm going to do another little loop-de-loop. I'm going to do that down here. And well, I guess I want it narrow. So I'm just going to come back in on these couple here, and then I'm going to cut it. And then how do I get it to stick to the paper? How I get it to stick to the paper is I come in, da-da-da, Tombow glue to the rescue. So the first thing, take a look and make sure you like it. And aside from the fact that we deliberately messed up the embossing, I come in and I just add a little extra glue. So what's happening is you're making the dimensional adhesive, you're adhering the ribbon to the dimensional, and you're just really, really making sure everything sticks. So, I mean, I'll just go ahead and adhere it to a scrap just so you can see, but this isn't a real card, right? So then I just put it down, and then that's it. And so I've got my loop-de-loop and everything's in there. So you're going to take the time to center it and get the shape that you want it, but that's the little trick for doing that guy. So this was our final card. And again, you could color it any which way. You could get Halloween colors with no Halloween, or you could really take advantage of the penciled paper just with all its glory. I did it months ago in all the in colors. I think I've sent all those cards out by now, but I did it months ago in all the in colors, and it was stunning. But so there's that guy. There's that guy, super fun. There's this guy, and you could do them just a couple different spotlights. And there's this guy, which is just so simple. And you guys, if you're, especially those of you like trying to catch up on kits, because I know some people get kits and then it takes a month to catch up. These are going to go by really, really quickly. So how can you get these kits? You can get these kits one of two ways. Of course, on my team, you know how that works out. But for customers, well, please join my team because I give discounts on kits and I just have a fantastic community and I hope you join and we do lots of stuff together. But for customers, you can either purchase, you're going to get 2 of each for $20 or free with minimum purchase. You can get this kit free with minimum purchase and there's different things that you earn at $35, $50, and $100. And some things that you might put on your wish list, I would put stepping stones at the very top of the wish list because it just has some really, really good sentiments. And this really pulls out the emphasis on the sentiment. You could get some of this designer series paper. It's beautiful. It's luscious. Oh my goodness. You could get, what else could you get? You could get some blends. If you don't have blends, you could get the Wink of Stella. You could get yourself some more fresh freesia ribbon. Oh my gosh, you could get the embossing kit, right? So this, if you don't have it, I'm honestly thinking of getting a second one just because I'm like smitten. I've been doing so much embossing and I keep like emptying out the one, putting the next one in. I might get a couple just so that I've got a couple going for a couple of my different colors that I'm using. But in any event, that is everything for today. I want to thank you guys for joining. I'll open it up for a second here while I'm recording to see if there's any questions. And then if not, I'll turn the recording off and I'll come over to you guys and say hi. But I'll just open it up for a second. Any questions, thoughts? You guys are all on mute.
They're all gorgeous.
Aw, yay. I really quite love them. Thank you, Lynn. All right, well, I'm going to stop the recording and then I'll come over to you guys. So hold on a sec.